Back in June 2003, I was on stage at the Three Mediums live event in London. That night, I gave a reading to a young man in the audience who got the shock of his life. He's the subject of today's Revisited. Christian Booth is 29 years old and comes from Kettering in Northamptonshire. His daily ride to work takes him to his post at the local army base.
I'm actually a medical clerk to a medical unit. I transferred from the medics to become a clerk.
Before he came to the Three Mediums, Christian wasn't as convinced by mediumship as his wife Rebecca, but he was a big fan of ghost hunting programmes like Living TV's Most Haunted.
I've been watching Most Haunted for a while and Most Haunted live, and just watching Derek do his psychic stuff. It just amazed me, and his atmosphere and his personality. So I said to Bex, I'd love to see him live, and that's when
I went into work and turned on the computer, looked on the internet and saw an advert for the Three Mediums live, and thought, what an excellent way for him to see Derek. So I booked it there and then.
She's awful sorry. Will you please tell my Rosie that I had to leave? I had to leave in the manner in which I had to leave.
I've never really watched the medium sort of programmes, never been into it, wasn't a believer at all. Believed that there was people planted within the audience and they was there just to make it look good. And then it was the halfway point, we went out for a drink, and Beck said, what do you think of it? I said, it's really good, it's lovely to see the mediums, but I don't believe, because the message could have been for anybody, and unless they said my full name, I wouldn't get up. I'll just refuse. And that was where you laughed, didn't you? You said, oh, they're going to call you out now.
Where do I got to go to find this name of Christian?
But everybody around me all knew my name. And so everybody was like patting me on the shoulder and saying, stand up, stand up. And I go, no, I don't want to.
Am I with you, young man?
My wife knows some spina bifida, but my name's Christian. I was watching, I thought, no, this is going to be a complete load of rubbish.
My cousin died when he was 22 of spina bifida, but I was only little.
Look, although it's your good lady's cousin, it is actually you that he wants to talk to. He's saying that he was with you when you made a very cruel crack just recently about a car that all it needs is fluffy dice.
My boss's car.
All right.
2-3 days earlier, there was me and my two bosses in my office at work, and one of my bosses drives a Skoda, and so I turned around and said, all you need a little bit of dice and put your name in the window, and you know, you'd be like guys off Only Fools and Horses. At that stage it was starting to believe, but not 100%.
What does this word Sorenson? Broaden it out. Sorenson, Sorenson. Sorry, son. Sorry, son. Sorry, son. I am sorry, son, that I was not there for your proudest moment. But I was there. I was watching you.
This other person come through. It was my dad's brother, who was an uncle, and he was like a dad to me. He was really close. And the bit that really got me was when he mentioned my pass-off parade.
That you had like a passing out parade.
Yeah.
And like the cap that they gave you was just like a little bit on the big side for you. There was all the other lads lined up and there was you looking like a mushroom. All right.
That morning my berry didn't fit me, so I borrowed my friend's, and it did look like a mushroom. Now, nobody's ever mentioned that. I've never told nobody.
But he was incredibly proud of you.
He was in the army, and so I don't know if it's probably one of the reasons why I joined the army, because of him, listening to the stories. I don't know. And he was meant to go. He was meant to come to my pass-off, and that's when I started getting a bit emotional. He died of cancer about a month before my pass-off parade, a little bit more.
But I was there. I was watching you. Can you understand that, Christian?
Yeah.
Good boy. All right.
I used to go up to Blackpool and stay with him in the summer holidays when I was at school. It was really close.
Despite the fact that I said otherwise, you have never dishonoured me.
I did something really naughty when I was younger, and I embarrassed the family quite a lot. So I went to stop with him because there's a big dispute with my family. He had to go at me and says, look, you've embarrassed me, you've embarrassed your dad, you've embarrassed the family, and it's probably one of the worst tellings off I've ever had, because it was from the guy that I respected so much. And it was when he turned around to me at the end and said, you never ever embarrassed me, I've been nothing but proud of you. Look at me. I've been nothing but proud of you your whole life. And
You didn't dishonour the family.
you didn't dishonour the family. And then I knew that nobody else could have knew that. Nobody. It was just so correct. And it's just, that's what really hit me the most. And then I just wanted it to end, because like, it scared me. And then that's when I said, look, I'm a believer now, go and somebody else, leave me alone.
I believe in it now, you're right.
The information they said, nobody could have known. It was, I mean, Bex had bought the tickets, it wasn't brought in my name, nobody knew I was going. I didn't know until a couple of days before, because Bex did it as a surprise. Things I've done through my life, things I didn't want to admit I've done through my life, and everything, it's just everything come up. Until it happens to you, and you're sitting in front of 4,500 people, and your name and your life gets brought up, I wouldn't have been a believer. I watch more of the shows, I go onto your websites, and it's like, wow, I met so many friends on there. People from ghost clubs, medium clubs, and it's literally a big family, which I've never known before. At one stage, every time I was answering one message, 10 more messages were popping up, people congratulating us, just being completely sincere, which you don't always find. It's like, now I believe there is an afterlife, I believe in God, and it gets quite in depth when you start to think about the whole structure of it all. You're worried about, is somebody here now, especially when you get to bed, or you know, you go into the toilet, or for whatever reason. That worries me.
Fear of a different nature is going to be a part of Christian's life, as his medical unit is soon to be posted on active duty to the Gulf. He's particularly concerned after the news that Rebecca is expecting their first child.
Obviously, I'm in the army, and I deploy in the end of November with Cuckfield Hospital to Iraq. We're deploying for 6 months, and we knew about that about 4 months ago. So I've had time to plan it together, but it was really scary. And then when you're on your own, you get to thinking, you know, if somebody's watching me, hopefully watching over my wife and my baby.
Yeah, even though I'm pregnant, I've got that to deal with, and he's not going to be here for that. I'm not as worried as I was last time he went away, even though he's going to Iraq and it's not going to be good out there.
You know, somebody's looking after me.
Yeah.